at your Lord of the Rings Return of the King movie review. I have so far done all of the Lord of the Rings movies so far, so this is really awesome. I just gotta say that I loved this movie the best because it's like the third one, the last. It had to be the final shebang, and Peter Jackson definitely knew how to make a perfect end to this movie. I really liked how the characters were finally sort of feeling a little bit more, you know, they had to toughen up, they had to basically give it their all in this movie, make sure they had to fight to the bitter end, so to speak. Start off with the beginning, the opening of the movie, I thought was really interesting, where they would start talking about Gollum's like origin story, like how he came to be. He was a hobbit who just got corrupted by the ring, but surprisingly, like he just turned out really, really ugly as like a creature. It was crazy, like to turn from a hobbit to like this ugly thing. It was intense. And he even killed his brother. That part was just really messed up. And Frodo, who is still like, he's getting a little bit more like weaker, like every single day. He can't really seem to walk on his own. Him and Sam are running out of food and water, and they're not even like they're almost close to Mordor, but you know, it's gonna take, you know, a few days or even a few weeks to get there, so it's gonna be pretty long just to destroy one ring. And I'm talking about this ring. Definitely Sam, like he still can't stand Smeagol, Gollum, whatever his name is, and there's just some issues between them. He just wants him like gone. He wants him dead, pretty much. Basically, they just all hate each other, and it's not looking too good for Frodo. Moving to some of the other characters in the movie, you've got the three musketeers, who I've dubbed to be Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, and they are all basically, after the big huge win, or sort of win, after the Helm's Deep battle from the Two Towers, they haven't heard anything about Frodo's whereabouts or if he's even alive, so they're kind of worried about him, but Gandalf thinks that he's alive. They went to Isengard. They ended up picking up Merry and Pippin along the way. Pippin finds this orb-looking thing called a Palantir that belonged to Saruman, and he looks into it because he's, you know, stupid. He's a fool of a took. That's what Gandalf says in the first movie. He's even more dumb for looking into it because he like starts to see crazy visions, and Gandalf has to take him to Minas Tirith, which is where, or it's also known as like where Gondor is, and that's where he meets Boromir's father, and Boromir died in the first movie, so now he feels obligated to serve under his father as like a payment of the debt that he supposedly owes him, which I thought was really ludicrous, because this guy, he's from Fringe, so he's always had that bad attitude, like he's always had that like stern look on his face all the time, and he really creeped me out. They have to decide, like they need to get, you know, ready for battle again, like the even bigger one that's going to basically decide like the fate of Mordor and all of its creatures, because they really need to destroy the ring and end this like whole thing, because it's just been crazy and unnecessary that this ring should even exist. And back in Rohan, they start suiting up everybody, and Merry, who's the other hobbit left, he wants to fight, and so he like gets trained and stuff, so I thought it was pretty awesome. Little puny little hobbit with hairy hobbit feet and a stubby sword. I thought that was really awesome. What really irritated me was, seriously, the finale of the Aragorn, Eowyn, Arwen love triangle. Aragorn says, basically, I don't love you, you don't know what, you don't love me back, or whatever. So, he basically shot her down. I thought that was just really funny. I was like, yeah, you tell her, Aragorn. She needs to find her own man. Just saying. So it kind of irritates her. And she is like the type of chick that wants to go into battle as well. So when Aragorn is basically, he comes into contact with Elrond, who is Arwen's father, who is like this elf dude of awesomeness. He gives him the sword of Elendil, which is the sword that was broken in the opening to the Fellowship of the Ring. And it's a really awesome looking sword, and it's given to Aragorn because he's Isildur's heir. And he's destined to become king, and he would definitely look good as king. Legolas and Gimli go into the mountains, they recruit these ghost people, and they all sort of join in the battle that consists of like 1,000,000 orcs, some Oliphants, and just a whole bunch of people from some of the different, like from Gondor and Rohan, and they're all doing this huge battle, and I thought it was one of the most epic battle scenes of all time. I thought it was just really intense, even though a lot of it was mostly special effects and CGI, but I thought it was really well done, and it sort of like left me speechless after it, because I didn't know, like, it was suspenseful, I didn't know what was going to happen next, so it could have been anybody's game, and I mean, pretty much I knew that the heroes were going to win in the end, so it was just really crazy. Closer to the end of the movie, where Frodo has to finally, let go of the ring. He's been mean to Sam, he banished him, and then Sam wants to go back and help him. Frodo gets trapped, he's set up by Smeagol with this big giant spider that totally reminded me of when Harry Potter came out. It was like the same thing with the giant spider. I don't know what it is with giant spiders, they're so crazy. He ends up getting stung by the spider, and Sam thinks he's dead, but then he's actually not, and so he has to go rescue Frodo again, because he was taken to a tower by the orcs, and they have to go quickly to Mount Doom so that they can destroy the ring for good. Seriously, it's been taking forever, and it's 3 hours. He is finally at the peak of Mount Doom, inside, standing right over the running lava, and all of a sudden Gollum pops out, and he bites his finger off, but then he starts jumping around, and while everybody's battling it out outside of Mount Doom, because there's just 1,000,000 orcs out there, and people are dying and getting thrown like crazy by the Oliphants. King Theoden dies, spoiler alert, and I thought that was really sad. And I thought Faramir was going to die, and he's Baramir's brother. I thought he was going to die too, but no, it was his dad that died too. See, killed himself. Frodo is just he's got this weird look on his face. He is oh, I'm here, Sam. And then Sam's just destroy the ring. Gollum just falls over. He and Frodo, I actually thought Frodo was going to die at this point, but Gollum actually has the ring, and then he ends up falling right down into the lava pit and dying, with the ring being destroyed in the process. The ring. So I thought, I was oh, thank God. I was sweating. in the movie theater. I was like, oh my god, like, thank god it's over. And Frodo is safe, and so everything is fine. So awesome. Middle Earth is saved, peace is restored, Aragorn becomes king. Is just epic. I actually cried when at Aragorn's coronation scene. I thought that was just beautiful. And then he sees Arwen after like 3 movies, and I was just so happy. It was awesome. It was a perfect ending. And then everybody comes back again at the Shire. That's all like beautiful. And at the end, right before the credits roll in, you see the boat going into the west, and it was just with Bilbo, who's like this old little midget. Like, he's much smaller than a hobbit would be, because now he's like really old. So then he goes off with Galadriel and Elrond and Gandalf and Frodo. I was like, really, Frodo, you're gonna leave? I was crying. I thought this is definitely one of the best trilogies ever made. Like, if you agree, because this, I think, will be one of the best trilogies of all time. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of Return of the King. If this is your favorite movie out of the trilogy, if this is one of your favorite trilogies of all time. And you guys can also subscribe to my channel. I've got more movie reviews and movie updates coming back every week for a Chill Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you guys later.